Welcome back everyone, Emily Gauvin here. In the second part of how to make Nyaa-chan's tailored jacket, I'll be showing you how I assembled the bodice, the hems, and pretty much how I added the accessories and all the small details and finalizing the whole product. If you haven't already seen the first part, I suggest clicking somewhere in the screen. I don't know where I'm going to put the link, but it's going to be somewhere in the screen and in the description box below. Hopefully this will be helpful if you're trying to build any kind of tailored jacket. So yeah, moving on. Let's watch the second part. Bye guys!
In the last video, we finished off by stitching in place our sleeve cuffs. You can add a button on your cuff using a buttonhole stitch on your machine and any button you fancy, and this will complete our cuffs completely. Start by sewing all the darts of your tailored jacket. Personally, I only have one at the front. Next, we'll be assembling all the bodice pieces. This includes the center front, side back, and center back. Here, I'm opening up the pockets. I won't be going through the process of sewing the weld pockets, but there are plenty of videos on the subject up on YouTube. Feel free to check them out. This is what your bodice should look like once it's done. Next, you need to bias tape all your seams for a clean finish. You can also overlock all your seams. If you plan on lining the jacket, then skip this step altogether. The next step is to sew your facings together. You should have one that goes along the neck and one that goes along the hem. After that, you'll need to bias tape those facings. Start by aligning it to the edge of your pattern and sew it about 1 cm. This will vary depending on how wide your bias tape is. Iron your tape out towards the edge. Flip your piece and wrap your tape around your edge. Next, you need to stitch the tape in place. To complete the bodice, we need to attach your hem and neckline. I'll be starting with the neckline. I pin it in place, making sure that the seams and notches are well aligned. And then I simply sew it in, respecting my seam allowance. Here is what it looks like finished. Next, I'm going to add the hem piece. Once again, I pin it in place. The corners will be the most tedious part to do. Now we need to install our facings so that we don't leave our edges raw. I'm starting by aligning the neck piece. What I'm doing here is sewing my seam allowance to the facing. This helps roll the edge inwards and gives you a clean edge without any top stitching. If you wish, I have a video tutorial on the subject which you can check out somewhere up on the screen. And I completely forgot to film the rest of the process, so let me break it down for you. You'll need to sew in your other facing for the hem in the same manner as the neckline facing. To keep your facing in place and from shifting around, you can use a stitch in the ditch. Please check out this video tutorial for more details. Then you can add a lovely golden trim along your neckline and hem, which is what I did to mine. Lastly, don't forget to sew in your sleeves and bias tape your seam allowance, or overlock it if that's what you've been doing. And then add one big button at the front and you're done. Here's a quick walkthrough of how I made some of the accessories. I first drafted 2 pattern pieces for my bow. I added interfacing to my fabric to keep it nice and crisp. I sew my pieces together and make sure to leave a small opening to flip it inside out. I cut into my corners and cut off some of the excess seam allowance before flipping it inside out. I then stitch my small opening closed. I restart the whole process for my second piece. Because I want my bow to look a certain way, I stitch it into place by hand. So the bow is pretty much done by now. What you didn't see though is that I added a little pin in the back that I glued and stitched in place, so I could just pin it to my neck when needed. Next, I'm preparing the button out of the same fabric as the bow. Once it's done, I add it to my jacket along with a buttonhole. And the project is done. Hope this was somewhat useful. Please feel free to leave any comments below if you have any questions, and if you like it, please give it a big thumbs up. And until next time, good luck with your projects. Bye!